These are the 2016 NTSU Exec elections.
You've been president for 2015-2016, and the year before that you were VP Services, so you must be doing something right here to get the votes. What advice would you give to the current people that are campaigning?
Literally try and speak to everyone that you go past, because everyone's a vote. And when I say speaking, I actually mean going up and engaging them in conversation, finding out a bit about them, finding out how what they're doing in their life maybe ties in with what you want to do in your role. And I think that's worked for me really well. I think people genuinely bought into what I was saying to them because they could see I was an honest guy and I actually cared about what they were saying to me and not just trying to hurry them along, get a vote and then ship them out.
And looking back to a year ago, it seems like so long ago, but it's just flown by. What would you, looking back on your manifesto from then, what have you made sure that you've absolutely stuck to, and how has this affected the student union?
Okay, so in terms of I had 5 key areas that I wanted to work on. Let me see if I can actually remember them. So one was around communication and how we communicate what we're doing as a student union to the students, but that was more of an in-house thing. That was taken care of luckily by my colleague Timmy, but also by the head of communications as well. So I kind of came in there and said, this is what I want to do. I didn't actually have to do anything. They kind of ran with it, and that was one of their focuses for the year. As well as that, accommodation was an issue in terms of the rate of increase in halls. A lot of students were saying that the prices from one year to the other were massive, and they didn't understand why that was. I didn't understand why that was after doing a bit of research. Took this to the university, and they realised that actually it was kind of unfair, and as a result of that they brought down the rate of increase in halls, and that's going to save the students next year around £300,000. So that was a big win, and that's a tick on the manifesto list. But as well as that, I found course resources was an issue. There were students that were saying that they weren't given the right resource for their course, or that there were hidden course costs that they were incurring that they weren't aware of when they first came in. Degree show funding probably being the biggest one that affected the most amount of people in a particular school. I found it strange that no one had asked the question before. Again, took it to the university with a bit of evidence, spoke to a lot of students, and that was something that the university were happy to listen to as well. As a result of that, degree show funding is now being funded for those students on those courses, and that's going to save them in total around 150,000 maybe. So that's another win. So I've said accommodation, course resources, communication, international fees was another one. So at the moment they're not fixed. When you come in, it can fluctuate to first year, second year, third year. When I actually took on the job, I delved a bit deeper and found out that although it was something that we didn't do here, it wasn't as big a problem here as it is in other places. So that's unfortunately something I wasn't able to deliver on. The person who's running for my position next year has got that on his manifesto, not to look at the fees, but to instead look at other things that international students are kind of doing and how they can be helped. So yeah, those are just some of the things that I set out to do and that I have done. Not everything, as I've said, not by myself, but luckily for the strength of my team and the strength of the staff members within the union, we've been able to deliver.
And just to wrap this all up, if you were to go back and do the elections and the campaigning process all over again, as a bit of advice to the people that are campaigning now, what would you do differently? What
would I do differently? Nothing. As I've said, I've won 2 elections in a row. And that's because I've obviously got the winning formula. No, I'm joking. No, but really I just think speaking to people and getting to know people on a personal level quite quickly in 5 minutes goes a long way, and it shows because I've won 2 elections. So I wouldn't do anything differently. My strategy was good, my campaign team was good. If I could recommend anything to anyone, I'd say make sure that your campaign team is fully behind you and that they appreciate and they understand why you're running. Because if they do that, then it's like having 10 or 15 yous around speaking to people, and people buy into that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
These are the 2016 NTSU Exec elections.